Hello and welcome to the 2024 NPL Victoria Grand Final podcast brought to you by Channel. I'm Pokuah Frimpong, joined by Nick DeBano to talk all things NPL Victoria Women's Grand Final. Nick, Preston Lions taking on Heidelberg. Big game. What do you think we should expect from that game?
It's going to be full of fireworks, isn't it? It's a really fascinating matchup. You know, second versus fourth, the Premier's Bulleen, vanquished by Heidelberg, in that semi-final, the Venetor club. You know, what a resounding win it was as well for the Burgers, who, you know, quite frankly have come from nowhere to make the grand final. It's been an incredible revival under Sven Samlid this season. And then, of course, you look at Preston, second season, the top flight. They've had a great year under Dan Foden. They've been consistent. They won that final against Essendon Royals. It was a professional 1-0 win. And now they find themselves back here at the home of the Matildas like they were a few weeks ago in that Nike FC Cup final. The question is, Pokuah, can they go one better this time?
That is the ultimate question. But when we talk about Heidelberg and you talk about that kind of turnaround under Sven Samlid, in the first 11 games of the season, they only got 14 out of the 33 available, and in the second half of the season, they had 25 of those 33 points. And it's been such a turnaround. All those mid-season acquisitions, it's allowed this side to play such free football. They play on the outside, they play through the middle, but that halfway point, that turnaround, it's been something special to see.
Oh, aren't the vibes just great at Heidelberg at the moment? You sort of see it in the way that they play. They're so free, they're so loose. The way that they move the ball, as you mentioned, through the middle, through the sides, they are so dangerous in all facets of the field as well, especially when you're bringing in someone like Alana Janchevsky in the mid-season window and Sarah O'Donoghue, who have really strengthened that side as well, and Keely Lockhart up front as well. They've just got so much talent. From front to back. I mean, obviously a big loss with Margaret Rabin going down with injury, but getting some key players back in Maddie Rakic and potentially Liv Edwards as well for this week to sort of solidify that defence. But there is just such a great vibe, as we spoke about, Pokuah. You see it in their social media, you see it in the videos after the game. There's a freeness to the way they're playing, there's a confidence to the way they're playing, and after you beat the Premiers like they did, they will be feeling as if that they could do anything right now going into this game against Preston.
And a side that, you know, we're going to try and stop them is Preston Lions, Nike FC Cup finalists. They fell to Bulleen in the end. They'll be looking to just kind of avenge that in a sort of way to beat this Heidelberg side, who they haven't actually beaten at any point this season. They played in round 11 and it was Heidelberg who won 2-1, and then in the final game of the season it was 2-2, and they had to come back late to equalise in that contest. So for Preston, a lot on the line emotionally, you'd feel, to come into this final and try and beat a team that you haven't beaten at any point this year.
Absolutely. Like, this is a big, big game. I mean, Preston have been one of the standard bearers all season. They've been right up there. You know, they've always been in that race for the premiership, but also in the race for that home final. Something they locked in on that final day, courtesy of that late equaliser when they did play Heidelberg at Olympic Village. You know, the permutations, if that didn't happen, I mean, what that could have meant for the entire finals race. I mean, we might not even be here right now with this sort of matchup. So it's an interesting one, but Preston have been so good this year. They really, as you would have seen on Friday night, Pokuah, they were very professional against a very tough Essendon team.
And only one shot on target throughout the entire game, and that's all they needed.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking at this game and looking at these two clubs who've invested so much into the game, and, you know, Heidelberg, the team that they have, you know, Nick, quite balanced and a lot of firepower. Do you imagine this week goals is going to be the thing we're going to see out of this game?
I think so. I think we're going to see something quite similar to the Nike FC Cup final between Bulleen and Preston, where there were a lot of goals. I think this is going to be free-flowing. I mean, we've already had a promise that there's going to be goals. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you get down there for kickoff at 3:30 on Saturday at the home of the Matildas. It's going to be great. I mean, you know, the pitch is looking fantastic. You know, it's held up well after all the wild weather we've had over the last few days down here in Melbourne, and it's going to be a great spectacle. I'm really looking forward to seeing these two teams lock horns on Saturday afternoon.
You speak about the pitch, Nick. These are two sides who play on the two of the biggest pitches in the NPL women's competition, and now they're playing at the home of the Matildas as well, which is a massive pitch. So there's not really a sort of advantage, you know, heading into this game when the playing surface, and I think that you probably feel calm going, we can actually play our game on the day.
Absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned, the big pitch will not daunt them one little bit. You know, I mean, BT Connor Reserve, Olympic Village are massive, massive pitches. It's not, you know, what maybe they will be when they're playing some of those tough road games, playing a team like Essendon at Cross Keys, or even against a team like Alamein. This is the vast sort of wideness of the pitch, you know, will really help up against both teams being used to this on a week-to-week basis. So I think this is going to be such a fascinating game, Pokuah. I think that the neutral is in for an absolute treat on Saturday afternoon. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
I'm also looking forward to it. But two players who are probably looking forward to a little bit more than us are Steph Galea and Molly-May Ramsay, who we're going to just have a quick chat to. So after this break, we'll see Steph Galea and Molly-May Ramsay. Welcome back, and before the big game, obviously got to talk to the players, and we've joined by Heidelberg captain Steph Galea and Preston Lions defender Molly-May Ramsay ahead of the big game. Girls, how are we feeling? Is the anxiety building just yet, or are you feeling pretty calm ahead of the game?
I think it's a mixture of both excitement and nerves kicking in. Obviously, it's what we've worked all year for, so we finally got there, and obviously very excited to be part of this probably for the first time in the NPLW history. So, yeah, we're very excited, and yeah, we're looking forward to it.
What about you, Molly?
Yeah, pretty similar. I mean, it's a huge moment, but same, like the girls have been putting in the work and preparing for this moment all season. We set our goals at the start of the year, so I think we're just excited and ready to go.
Steph, I guess this season's been such a roller coaster for you and the whole team. I guess take us through it. I mean, you know, obviously from where you guys were at the start of the year to now being in a grand final, I guess take us through the whole journey.
Yeah, obviously the start of the season was a little bit shaky. If you asked me round 6 if I thought I'd be here, I'd probably say no. But credit to the girls. They stuck together, they worked hard, they kept believing, and it got us the results at the end of the day. So we hit peak. We were pretty hard to beat. So credit to the girls. Yeah, they've been working so hard, and they deserve this so much.
On the other side, Molly, for Preston, it's been a more even season, I have to say, probably a little rough patch, just a little bit in the middle of the season, but you guys have been relatively calm and played the Nike FC Cup. Does that, playing that final before this big game, does that settle you guys a little bit more, feel a little bit more confident?
Yeah, I think so. I think having some really, really good form lately in the last few weeks and just having a fairly, like you said, consistent season, I think, yeah, it does give us confidence going into this final, and obviously being part of the Nike Cup final too. Yeah, we know what we have to do to get the win. So.
Molly, what did you take out of Friday night? Obviously, it was a really tough sort of game, very different sort of opponent to what you're going to be facing this weekend, but playing against Essendon in what was, yeah, a really difficult game with even some difficult conditions to deal with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, a semi-final's always going to be tough regardless of who you're playing, and Essendon definitely gave us a great fight. But, yeah, I do think this will be a very different game, and, you know, at the end of the day, we got the win, and that's what matters, and we stayed together and pushed through for the 90 minutes. So.
On the other side for you, Steph, it was a much calmer probably semi-final against Bulleen. You guys started really well, a really impressive win. Did you guys feel like you were ready for that preliminary final before getting out there? Yeah,
definitely. We were ready. We knew what we needed to do to win this game. Obviously, playing them twice, we learned from our mistakes the first time, and second time we played them, you know, we were the better team on the day. And yeah, come the semi-final, I know how much the girls want this, so they came to the game ready. I've never seen so many players in the zone. It was so good to see. And, yeah, we rocked up, knew what we had to do, and we executed it to point. So, yeah, we're pretty happy with that win.
How much did it spur you on, I guess? You know, 2 years before that, you played Bulleen in a semi-final, you lost, but this time you go to their ground and you get the win and then you're into the grand final. I guess how much did that spur you guys on for the players who were still there?
Yeah, definitely. There is a few of us still there that had that in the back of our minds. We know obviously the heartbreak that we went through, being so close, and that year obviously having the edge over Bulleen twice and then coming to the semi and losing it. It kind of hurt a lot. So the few girls that are still there, we were talking about that quite a bit. So yeah, that definitely pumped me up personally. And yeah, definitely do want to go through that again because I'm getting too old.
Looking ahead to the grand final, Molly, you're playing this Heidelberg side, a team you haven't beaten so far this season, but you know have come close probably in that first game and then the 2-2 draw to close it out. What's that mindset facing a team that you know you haven't necessarily been able to overcome this season so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we know how tough Heidelberg are to play, and I think, if anything, that gives us extra motivation. You know, the fact that they are the only team we haven't beat, that gives us that extra, motivation to go out and beat them. And we're not disillusioned to how tough this game's going to be. So we'll all go in really prepared and definitely not complacent at all.
Steph, I guess for yourself, like looking at this season, I guess we've got Sven in the room in here as well, but what has, I guess, the change been under Sven that's really instilled that belief in you guys this year? I guess, give us a bit of an insight into the locker room at Heidelberg under Sven.
Sven's probably the nicest person I think I've ever met in my life. He just made us believe again. Like, we all knew we were good football players, and obviously we weren't performing for whatever reason it was. But he just came in and just made us believe again, gave us the confidence that we're all good footballers, and just let us, I guess, play the best way we could, as a team. And yeah, it's been really positive. I think all the girls are really happy, so that's the main thing. And I think when you're happy, you play your best football, and I think that's exactly what's happened.
Going to that midpoint of the season when the window opened, you guys brought in some really fantastic players that it kind of freed this team up and freed your role up in a way. Can you touch on some of the players you brought in, like Sarah Donahue, Alana Yanchevsky, Mami Hambo as well, just how those players have impacted the squad?
Oh, I could talk about those three all day. They're amazing people, which is very important to bring the right people in as well. And then the football side of things, obviously they've played at high levels before. They've got the experience in the A-League and stuff like that. So having those players come in just brings the team gives them a bit more confidence to perform and do well. And they bring the best out of not just themselves, but the team as well. So obviously training with them and learning off them, it's been amazing, especially for the young girls that have come through as well.
Conversely, Molly, obviously a lot of players have come in as well in the mid-season window for Preston with a lot of experienced players like Emma Checker and Susan Fonson-Cam. I guess, what have they brought to the squad this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're incredible players and just lifting, like Steph said, lifting the intensity at training, but also just off the field. And I know it does sound like a little bit of a cliche, but Dan's worked really hard to bring not only good footballers but good people. And I have to say, I've never been part of a group this together and this supportive and just really good humans. And Checker and Suze are both included in that. And just seeing how, especially the younger girls in the team, but also the juniors around the club, how much they look up to them and others on our team. And just seeing them being so passionate about it and Chex and both Suze are really involved in coaching and being really good role models for those younger girls coming through.
How exciting has it been, I guess, to be part of Preston as a whole with the club this year? Obviously, there's been a lot of excitement around the club really from all facets, but I guess this year, what's it been like being inside those four walls, seeing that excitement on a week-to-week basis? Yeah,
it's huge. It feels really special to get to be part of that. And like you said, there's a lot going on with the men's team as well and promotion and just being part of something big that will go beyond this year as well. It's seeing the impact and again, obviously bringing it back to the young girls, seeing the fact that they haven't even played before or gone to watch a soccer game before, but they're coming to both the men's and the women's games. They want to see the players after the game. They're supporting our games and cheering us on and you feel the buzz, you feel the energy around the club and it's really special to be part of that.
Steph, you've been at Heidelberg for such a long time and seen the competition grow yourself, but for your time at Heidelberg this season, what's kind of been the change for the team that you guys have really got behind each other and really pushed yourself into a first grand final for the club?
It's a lot of factors. Obviously, pretty new squad, to be fair. So I think it's just how quickly we gelled as a team and I guess the change of coaching was also a massive positive for us. Everyone they just clicked straight away and Sven and Dennis came in and they just backed us and that gave us the confidence to achieve anything we wanted to, honestly. So I think over the time we've had probably, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 coaches. So I feel like this one has been I guess, where the team felt most comfortable. And I think it's just the recruitment as well. We've just signed players that have done so much on and off the field. A lot of our teams coaching the juniors, which really brings the seniors and juniors so much closer together, having the juniors at our games, walking out with us, stuff like that. It's a real special feeling. And obviously been there for about, I think it's 9 years maybe. I was obviously doing a little bit of coaching as well. So I worked really hard in trying to get that bond between the seniors and the juniors, and I'd make the juniors go and, the seniors go and coach the juniors for a couple minutes just to show their face and stuff. And I thought that connection was just amazing. And Sven's obviously technical director as well, so he worked really hard in doing that. And I think that's just made our club so much more special.
What would it mean to win it on this occasion? I mean, you've been there for so long, but to cap it off with a championship.
Mate, I cried on Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do on Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do this Saturday. It means so much to the club. They've been working really hard, especially on the women's program the last few years. And just to actually be in the grand final, I know the club's so proud of us and what we've done so far. So it would be amazing. The club deserves it. And the girls definitely do deserve it after the year we've had and what we've gone through and how we came out of that hole. It would be the most amazing feeling.
For you, Molly, how would it feel to win that grand final and, be champions of the NPL Victoria competition, Preston Lions' second year in the NPL?
Yeah, it'd be an incredible achievement. Of course, everyone wants to win, but I think, we've got what it takes, and we've been in a similar position with the Nike Cup final, and knowing how that feels, I think we just know we have to win this game, and we're going to give it 110%. And the girls deserve it so much.
Before the Nike FC Cup podcast, I asked, why each team were going to win. Heidelberg, Steph, what's the reason Heidelberg is going to win? And Molly, what's the reason Preston are going to win?
That's
Who wants to go first?
No, I think for Heidelberg, I think we've just, the way we've gone from pretty much down here to up here, I think is just maintaining momentum, keep doing what we're doing, keep believing. I know we've got a good team. I know we can obviously get the job done on our day. So, yeah.
Seeing Heidelberg come out of their semi so well, and that was in last week. And but I think, say it again, but our current form and how we've been playing and just the belief we have in each other, I think that will get us over the line.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to watching you guys out there on the weekend, and come down and check it out. But we're going to come back right after this break and to chat more NPL Victoria Women's Grand Final ahead of the big game. And thank you so much to Steph Galea and Molly-May Ramsay for joining us for a little chat ahead of the big game. But Nick, it's always important to look at the bigger picture about, when teams are playing in the grand finals. And for two teams who've never been at this stage at the NPL era, Heidelberg, they've only played one finals game, completely ever, and that was back in 2022, and Preston Lions first to the first. So, you'd imagine for the clubs, the people, on those boards, they'd be feeling a little bit of anxiety as well.
Absolutely, there'd be a lot of excitement about this. I mean, it's a new frontier for both these sides. In the NPL era, we must preface, of course, Heidelberg's women's side have been in grand finals in Victorian football history before. They played in 5 successive grand finals between 2006 and 2010, but they only won one of those in 2007, lost all of them against Box Hill Inter back in the day, but they did play in the 2014 final as well against South Melbourne, which they did lose. So their grand final record throughout history has not been great, but they have a chance to sort of rewrite that history. But for Preston, this is completely brand new. This is a brand new slate for them, but of course they do have cup finals sort of and these sort of final big game history with what they had against Bulleen earlier this year, which would be fresh in the memory considering the way that they lost that game as well.
If you look at, we talk about Preston, they've invested so much in the women's program and getting so much reward 2 years into this competition. And we've kind of seen that, Nick, sides who have made their way through the VPL and have come up and are really making an impact. And it kind of shows for Burundara last year and now Preston this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Essendon Royals as well, making the finals in the first time of asking. It really just shows that if you invest in your women's program, how much success you can have when you come to the top tier. I mean, you know, it would give excitement to the sides that are coming up next season. You know, if you are a Spring Hills or you are a Casey Comets, whoever you might be, coming into the top tier and looking to, you know, make a bit of a splash. You know, you look at Essendon, you look at Preston, you look at Burundara, what they've been able to do over these years, that should be the marker. But isn't it great to see, Pokuah? I mean, you know, seeing these sides having so much talent from front to back all over the pitch, but we've had such a competitive season all around. You know, the top four, all competitive, all had a great case to be here right now. But I feel like after what we saw in the semi-finals, we've got the perfect matchup right now for this grand final.
You know, honestly, it's a grand final that, you know, you feel a little bit anxiety, but it's strange. Heading into some other games, there's somebody who's a heavy favourite, but into this one, there are two teams that they're kind of, you know, really pleased to be here, and they probably, for particularly Preston, would have felt we could make it into a grand final. Heidelberg, we know how the season has been for them. You know, it feels a bit different coming here, but it's nice to see for the competition how competitive it's been. It was a really competitive battle at the bottom of the table in terms of who was going to go down, and then also at the very top, and just having a grand final, and I'm excited, Nick. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's a testament to the quality of the sides in this league that, you know, even the reigning champions in South Melbourne, you know, they fell out. You know, they were right in the mix right till the end, but they fell out. You know, Burundara, who made finals last year, they missed the top four as well. You know, it goes to show the quality right around the competition is only increasing, and I think that's a great sign, you know, and I think it's just a great testament to how much women's football has grown here in Victoria and right across the country. So this game, though, Pokuah, I mean, you know, you've seen both these sides, you know, firsthand for most of this season. You've seen, you know, Heidelberg in this year in particular, how they've flipped the switch coming into sort of this stage of the year. My question to you is, what's the key for them if they're going to be able to get past Preston on the weekend?
The key has got to be their midfield. That midfield they've invested so much in this season. It's paid a lot of dividends for them. The likes of Sarah O'Donoghue, Mayata as well, and Golani Yanchevsky in there. If they can win that midfield battle, Heidelberg would feel really good about their ways of winning that final. And for Preston, they've got to have that attack be firing from the outset. And if they have that, and they've got so many weapons across the field, and Susan Fonson, Kamira Nishimura. It's a star-studded NPL Victoria Women's Grand Final, and if you haven't, you know, been to an NPL Victoria game, this is one of those ones you really want to come to.
This is the one to get to. I mean, it's going to be a great day out on Saturday afternoon. You know, obviously we have the double header, you know, of the women at 3:30, the men a little bit later in the day as well. So make sure you get down, because it's going to be a fantastic day of football, and it's the perfect culmination of what's been probably one of, if not the best season of NPL women's football down here in Victoria. And
before we both go, Nick, score prediction, who's going to win, who's not going to win, what do you have to say for that?
I feel like we'll be held to these, and I feel like, you know, we're going to get, you know, some, maybe if we are wrong, we might get a few sort of angry messages about it. So, you know, I'm a bit on the fence with this one, Pokuah. So if I had to pick, though, I think based on current momentum going into this, I just have this feeling that Heidelberg are going to ride it all the way through and they're going to win this game. The vibes are good. You know, we've spoken about the power of friendship that's sort of going through that side at the moment. I just have this sneaky feeling that they're going to get the job done, but it's not going to be sort of a straightforward game. This is going to go right down to the wire.
It is going to go right down. I'm going to hold my opinion, but no, come down and join us here at the home of the Matildas this Saturday, 3:30 p.m. And if you can't make the game, don't worry. It's going to be on NPL Victoria's YouTube channel with the broadcast starting at 2:30 p.m.